So I just randomly was scrolling through reels, just rotting here and resting here, and just came across one where they said ChatGPT wouldn't read the Genesis chapter 2. Nothing I'm really ever into. I don't really fuck with the Bible or anything. But I was just curious. Now I have no idea if it's true or not, but they displayed it on their little video, and it seemed true. But who knows? I didn't check it out for myself because I haven't used the AI like that ever, not once, and nothing against it. Just I don't care. I mean, whatever. It's whatever. But I decided just to read it myself or see what it was about. So I just typed it in Google, and it's about God, creation 7 days, 7 days rest, and then the Garden of Eden, pretty much, and the creation of Adam and the woman from the rib and all this stuff. And I was like, with my knowledge that I know now, or the theories that I know about now, the theories, we'll say that, really does seem that the Garden of Eden was just a containment facility for the new workforce, the prototype new workforce for for the whoever was here who needed cheap labor. And it's a nice and beautiful place for the first human who was probably genetically engineered from the hominids that were on Earth, the regular monkey types. That's not really the right way to say it. The Sasquatch types, or the regular monkey type hominids that were just living here at the time. And then they spliced their DNA and made us in their image. And that was Adam, living in the containment place that cultivates the new human. The splice between hominid and whatever race came here. I'm not even going to say the name. You know who it is. And so we have that lab containment place, Eden, right? Now, my take on it is, so I had the tree of life and the tree of knowledge, good and evil, and all that. Oh, more of the lab setting is obviously they find out that it's not good for these monkey types, these hominids, even spliced with our DNA, to just live alone. We need somebody, so they put him asleep. That's even in Genesis. Long sleep, just sedation. They took him back to the lab section, sedated him, took out his rib. They're advanced. Used that to grow Eve. Who knows how long he was asleep for? Put him back in the pen. Eve is ready. Introduce her. Now he has his counterpart, and they live naked and have no shame, which just means they're not naive, could be, but they're fresh and new. They haven't even learned that yet. They haven't been to a tree of good and evil knowledge and all that stuff, right? So it's just the start of the workforce. But somebody threw a wrench in whoever's plans and threw a wayward spark within us that made us our own sovereign reality creators. We were not supposed to be, I don't think. I don't think we were supposed to be. But they did. And so for the longest time, though, we didn't know it. And the way beliefs work means we didn't know it. So we're still that good workforce for the longest time. Now, of course, I'm sure lots of shit happened that, who knows, we'll find out about. But here we are. And what my take on it is, the ice wall, it's just a bigger Eden. We're flourishing like fucking rabbits. And the ice wall is the new Eden. So the new Eden is the whole Earth. You can think of it as space being the barrier or the ice wall being the barrier. It doesn't even matter. It's like that's the new Eden. And the lab experiment, the workers are just run amok, and they don't really know they create their own reality, but boy, they're fucking like rabbits. Increase the walls. That's why there's so many rings. There's another ring if you look at it beyond the ice wall. If now this is just looking at the pictures, and I'm not saying I believe this or that. Okay, just keep an open mind, and it's fun to talk about. There's another ring. Maybe that's when we get even bigger or more expansive consciousness. But either way, it's fun to think about. So we're our own being, though. We're not workforce for someone else anymore, obviously. But they kind of, until we really know that for ourselves, and the percentage is enough for the whole, then they're going to be beings that take advantage of us. It's just what's going to fucking happen, it seems. So they created a new being with immense power. Immense power. In the image of themselves, here we are. Because they say they look exactly like us, just larger. You know, some kind of huge, super cosmic scientist, geneticist, you know? And we're the offspring. We are the outcome from that. If that Eden setting was our Big Bang for our type consciousness, we are the curly cues all the way out in the explosion. Here we are. And we're coming into terms of what happened. Things in history are falling apart, and there's certain evidences. Now, of course, all that is all well and good, the whole Eden thing. And I'm willing to. It's looking like that is the case of what it was. And we were so far back in history, but never was lost. Right there in the Bible. It's right there. Right there. He created in 7 days. What if that's just how long it took them to create the test facility, the breeding ground for us? And then they rested and they like looked at it like, yeah, this will do perfect for them. Look at the trees and stuff. They'll love this. Look, there's like a little river in there, man. This fucking hominids, they'll love this shit. Well, eat it up. Let's get one of them, put them in here, and see how they like it. And then we'll splice them. Splice them good, and then we'll have the workforce, and then we don't have to use our own for the workforce. We could use these. They're hardy. They already live here. They're so fucking smart, and they're able to acclimate. They're already pretty great. We splice our DNA into them, make them in our image, create a counterpart, because we're super geneticists like that. We're way advanced. We're 1,000 years more advanced than we are now. So we can do that shit. Make a nice pin for them. Make sure everything's good and Eden, and then release them for the workforce. But, you know, that much workforce for a being that had the wayward sparks secretly put in them, you can't contain that. Eventually, they're just going to fucking just outbreed everything and be everywhere and smart too and do their own reality without them even knowing it. And then all the other ones got to kind of be on the outskirts because the humans, they don't really know they create their reality, but they are. And we let them out. Then they outswall, so we're still really in. We get a big playing field to see what we can do, to see if we come to our own terms, to see if we need to be watched anymore or we create our own reality. So fun to think about. But all this evidence coming through that obviously things are different than what they were. Not to mention Tartaria and all that shit. And then all the ancient structures that are everywhere. All the repopulation of these ancient areas that were obviously already there. And then all the hiding of it. Mud floods, fires, all the records that were say this building was built in a year. And look at the fucking building. It fucking looks like fucking... Oh my god. And then all the infrastructure stuff, all the tons of stone that we couldn't even do now that were moved with 1700s horse and buggy stuff. Yeah, right. You know, all the stuff that's coming out. It's just all coming out. It's like you can't stop it. So put that together with all the Eden stuff. All the ice wall stuff, and that I'm not gonna go on the globe or ice wall stuff yet. I'm not gonna go either way on it. I'm staying neutral because I'm smart. And first of all, beliefs create your own reality. So what kind of reality do I want to live in? All I know is something's different than what's really going on. And it could just be the fact that we create our own reality. That's the big kicker. But within that, the whole Eden, Anunnaki, splicing, obviously something's happened. It just makes, there's never, even before I knew any of this stuff, the whole evolution and I just didn't quite in Big Bang Theory. Something was missing. Something just didn't quite seem right. But I didn't know enough and didn't really care about it because you're a human living life, you know. It's all coming out. It's all coming out in the wash. Shit. So whoever put that wayward spark in us, thank you. Cause look at us. We're gonna dominate. We're gonna just powerhouse it. All these humans that are getting connected finally. Now, who knows what really is going on? I mean, there's so If the ice wall type thing is true, all the technology that's really out there that we don't know about, who knows who's really human and who's not? Who knows if that's even a thing that matters? What if they did the whole Eden thing, workforce thing? That was way back then with the stuff that they were doing back then, right? Creating global break off civilizations and stuff. But then they realized, hey man, we created these perfect little beings that multiply like crazy, and they have the most godly setup for receiving and creating reality, and they don't even know. So we just ring them in, give them a big playing field, and if the mass don't know it, our new thing is we just jump into their bodies and we play real life. Could be. So a lot of these beings outside the ice wall are just playing being human, while the mass humans or real humans, they're all real in a sense, don't even know what's going on, living, banging out their lives. A portion of them are beings playing a video game outside the ice wall. Hey, you wanna go play human? Who are you gonna jump into today? But you can only jump into people who haven't found out who they are, and they're really lost. You know, they're really lost. You can only, and maybe that's not jumping into people. Maybe you can just influence them, and you get really good at influencing people who are lost. You don't control them. You just you influence them or something like that, and it's fun, like a Truman Show type thing, maybe. The more I think about it, the more I'm willing to believe that the universe, God, us, me, you, source, eschaton, moving image of eternity, infinite intelligence. I will say them all, right? It has it all. Every idea I can come up, that's what it is. That's how cool it is. So, like, you get back to the point of why I talk about it then. But it's just funny that it's right there in the Bible. It just seems like a laboratory setup. I mean, now I just put it in Google and read the points. And before I knew this stuff, it would just seem like, okay, this is weird religious stuff. It doesn't really make sense to me. I don't really get it. But after I've all this stuff's coming up and all my spiritual journey and then learning about what's really going on, or the high potential what's really going on, it's obviously a laboratory setup. It's just they're saying it right there. And it puts them to sleep, uses her rib to give them another counterpart because they don't want to be alone in the zoo. You know what I mean? In the human zoo. Created the place in 7 days, rested, looked cool. Yeah. Don't teach them. Do not teach them about what's going on. Just, they're our workforce. That's all they need to know. Okay. Slips in the wayward spark in them. I'm not going to teach them. I'm not going to tell them they have the spark in them. Kind of deal. Oh. Hmm. And maybe some kind of higher party, higher force, higher power, higher justice came down with the big flood, or maybe it was just Earth's natural. This happens every now and then, shifting of this or shifting of that, or maybe they did it with all the pyramids or some kind of thing we don't know about. Either way, we got cleansed. Maybe the Earth was just like, hey, I like these humans. Let's give them a fresh playing board. Let's give them a fresh let's give them a chance here. I see something in them. They don't even know who they are. They're so cute. Runaway lab experiment, like the platypus. We're like the platypus. If I can remember, that's gonna be the name of this. I was gonna say TED Talk. This week talk. We're like the platypus, the runaway lab experiment. That's what they think it is. I mean, if you read about it, all the weird shit about it, it's not even a good animal in the wild. Like, who knows how it even survives? It's just got all these weird abilities. Oh. And it would factually make sense that we would try to genetically engineer other humans and other animals because that's what happened to us, and it just keeps going. And we'll probably engineer something that then engineers something, and maybe it's AI. Who knows? And the AI coupled with the new robotics. You know, backflipping guys and it's getting good, guys. They're getting good. Ooh, they're getting good. Let's hope. Let's hope. No, not hope. Let's know we're not going to a Skynet thing because they're already good enough to take us out. I think. Shit. Gifted reality creation. Gifted the knowing that we are existence itself. I don't think everything has that gift. Like before, we're just the hominids who are living on this planet. I think that's more just like a dropping the ball down the plinko thing. Wherever it goes is where it goes. You know, just life on the planet. Who knows how it got there? Panspermiation on the meteors. Blah blah blah. Mushrooms. Who knows? But it just happens, and survival of the fittest, evolution over years. The way you can keep evolution in there. But it's the default setting. They don't know they create their own reality. It's just running. And if you leave that running, it's like Dwarf Fortress. Leave it running for a really long time to just see what cool shit comes up, and then implant yourself in it and have the fun in reality. You know what I mean? But we are gifted with the ability to know who we really are, and that is something. And maybe that's a gift is reserved for every portion of reality eventually. So why not? The grand cycling. The platypus is grand cycling. No. Yellow submarine. I was trying to make sense of that sun. What if we are just inside the sun? And that's the yellow submarine. And we're just projecting all this. That just came out of nowhere, by the way. We're all living in a yellow submarine. Submarine. So what if there's waters below? Because there's all those Nikon zoom camera pictures of the stars and stuff, and they all just look like water cymatics, right? Or like light filtering in through water. Like we're below water, right? They look like that. I haven't made up my mind about it because it could be some kind of weird camera effect thing when you're taking a camera like that and zooming way out. Way. It could just be some kind of weird thing that has nothing to do with any of that. And I want some kind of camera expert to go in on it. But regardless, they're interesting and they do just look like water cymatics. Vibration, waves, water coming through different densities, light coming through different densities of water. That's what they look like. Just fluctuating and moving. They definitely don't look like what our sun, but then a sun's a star, right? Right? How come it doesn't look like that? That's something to say, right? It's right there close to us. We got one right here. How come it doesn't look like that? This is why I think people jumping on that is what they really look like. I'm not sure. Or they do say our sun is local for the flat earth. They do say our sun is on the inside of the firmament. That would explain that, I guess. So they do actually look like, all stars do actually look like our sun. But the ones on the other side, they're on the other side of the waters. So they come through like that. But then they say that the stars are on the firmament. That doesn't make sense if that's true. Why? What if we're in a giant lab? The dome, the mega dome. What if it's all under the waters? We're just like a lab and a petri dish somewhere in another reality. It just keeps practically going. We're always in Eden, in some sense. And this is just an experiment, or a game, or both. A aim. No, a game experiment. No, just shut up. Just edit that out. Why would they look like that, though? Why would the stars look like that on those cameras? It looks just like water. They're all different colors, too. I'm sure that's something to do with light and the way, if they actually are expanding away from us. That redshift kind of thing. I'm trying to imagine what would make them look like that. So we have a dome. And maybe we're in something kind of like water now, but since we're in here all the time, we just don't know it. and up above is actually way less dense. But no, why would they look like? Why would the stars look like that? I can't figure it out. It's interesting to think about. That's for sure. Trying to figure out what's really going on here, but then if you paste over all that, we create our own reality. Maybe that's what we're doing right now. It's a fire in a madhouse. All ideas are up for grabs. Every meme is fighting for its right? And the Earth meme, the global meme, the control, the conspiracy, all that flat Earth stuff. It's all just Earth or human consciousness trying to grok who they really are, and it just portrays out in the physical reality as secrets coming forth, not knowing about this, not knowing about that coming out. You know what I mean? And we're just trying to figure ourselves out. What are we really if we create our own reality? It's like all the people who want to live on the globe go this way, and all the people who want some kind of weird, fantastic thing going on just goes this way. It's a bifurcation. What reality will you live in? I'm going on the path of reality. Above those two concepts is a concept that houses it all, and that's recreate it, and it's all just energy, one spark. But the one spark is all depth, it's all power. What's the movement if you're the only thing that's there? Right? What's moving at the speed of light if you're the only thing that's there? It's just whatever. It's nothing special. So you can stand next to yourself and you can replicate and you can work with geometry and perspective. You can figure all that out. Like, oh, if I render myself into these circles and stack them in such a way, it makes some kind of pseudo reality or perspective I've never seen before, and I'm just interested in it. So you fuck around with it so long that eventually you come up with this weird game of physical reality and humans and Eden and power struggles and knowledge and expansion, and it's basically hide and seek. Filtering just enough of our consciousness into this thing we're doing so that we can learn and grow and progress, have the experience of that. Because while everything is an illusion, or it's different than what you think is really going on, the experience, as Bashar says, is real. You are experiencing a human life in whatever way you're experiencing. The experience is what we're taking. Is what we're cherishing, right? How many human lifetimes have you had? You don't know. I'm a human master. The experience. How many experiences have you gone to your belt? Who are you? What do you know? How free are you? Eden. Such a cool thing about, right? Grown in a lab. We're grown in a lab. Grown in a lab. With the plan of being the workforce for these other people who I'm assuming they're the ones who built all the pyramids and shit. But I don't know my ancient timelines. Someone can correct me on that. But whatever. Grown in a lab is to be a workforce. I don't know, man. Makes more sense to me than a lot of other stuff, the more I think about it. Now, of course, there's probably holes and loops and things we don't really know about here and there still, but it makes more sense to me if everything going down and put all the new stuff that's coming out. And then within that bubble of unawareness, a big mass of beings who don't really know who they are, it's right before the game playing of like conquest and manipulation, if you're into that, power and wars and heroes and evil and good. It's ripe for that game if that's what you're into. Good guy always wins, though. In the end, good. The good guy always wins. Why? Because it's a frequency thing, and the high frequency encompasses all the other frequencies, or it's the low frequency that encompasses all the other frequencies. Either way, they encompass each other. 25 minutes. Apparently, they're all still out there, keeping tabs on us from their varying perspectives. I think we're about ready for some change here. Either they open the gates to the ice world, and they just let the truth out. Imagine that. Some big, on all news channels all over the world, they set up. They're like, listen, guys, hear us out, hear us out, hear us out. Don't storm the gates. You want to know the truth? Here you go. And then whatever it is. Shock and awe, denial, acceptance, and then a whole new adventure, whatever it is. Imagine a whole new adventure. Whole new lands you've never seen before. But that's still here. Even in the earth where I know now, there's still so much land I've never seen before. So it's like, well, get in line. First, I want to go to Japan, then I'll check out the ice one. No, I'm just kidding. I really think we're just witnessing the very aware people. Now, of course, there's millions of bifurcations and realities, but there's two mass realities here that we're witnessing pulling away from each other. And what side of the fence you're going to be on when the separation is complete. I know what side of the fence I'm going to be on. The side of the fence that keeps the reality that keeps spewing forth pure truth. Just falling in our laps, letting us know what's going on, whatever that reality is. That's the one I'm on the side of. Where corruption disintegrates and harmony dominates. With just enough corruption to still be somewhat spicy. You know what I mean? Heal the planet type stuff. Planet doesn't need healing, by the way. She's fine. She is fine. Us little humans, we think we're causing a bunch of big problems and stuff, but she just needs to do one good shoulder shrug. If she really needed to get back on track, don't you worry about it. Don't you worry about the earth. Whatever it is. Apparently the Great Lakes were they formed by the Great Flood, and when the water receded, that was just the puddles that were still left over? Something like that. Or they were, yes, but they were originally something like the Grand Canyon, where there were big mining reservoirs, and then the flood, and then why there's no waters in the Grand Canyon? Maybe the flood didn't reach that area quite. I don't know. I'm just spitballing now. I hate that phrase, spitballing. Why do I even use that? I'm just going off on a tangent now. I'm just willy wallying now. I just made that up. That's a new thing, by the way, willy wallying. There are a lot of people faking it. They're saying that doesn't work anymore. There are a lot of people who really want to believe this stuff and kind of fake it in that respect, which is not, it's, their heart's in the right place. But they still don't understand. They still don't get it. And there's a lot of people who really know that they have it. Here's the kicker: they still don't have it, but their reality is showing their version to them. And you're not gonna turn. You're not gonna turn their, but they still don't quite have it. Mm. And I like to count myself in the crew that actually knows what's going on. But there's always some space for not knowing in there. You know what I mean? Never want to close ourselves off. And who knows? I could be one of the dumbest ones here. Ooh, imagine that. Could be. You never know. No, no, I don't want. I don't want to succumb to that belief of you never know. That's too much. That's putting your experience too much on the whim of wind. You do know sometimes. You do know a lot of times. You know. You know. Right. Pruning your beliefs always. It's a never-ending thing. Okay, it was just supposed. I just wanted to talk about Eden and how we're probably still in just a bigger Eden, and that's what the ice wall is, or Earth is in general, the human island, the human dilemma. Anyway, thanks for listening. If you went through all that shit.